Hi there, and welcome to our Researching, Teaching and Learning assessment. My name is Jasmine and I'll be your guide for today. In our assignment, our group topic was enhancing student achievement. We researched the following theories designed to achieve this outcome: project-based learning, inquiry-based learning, quality teaching framework, and positive behaviour for learning. Now, before we begin, I would like to add that all research undertaken throughout this video has followed the WSU ethics protocols. Now that we've got that out of the way, let's begin with project-based learning. Project-based learning is simply defined as learning through doing. It is a student-focused pedagogy where students are required to unpack and engage in real-world problem solving and in turn develop 21st century skills. The review included 8 studies. 6 of the 8 studies supported project-based learning, which left 2 studies to reject the effectiveness of the strategy to enhance student achievement. The literature indicated that project-based learning schools have relatively better scores than their non-project-based learning counterpart, but more importantly, it shows that project-based learning decreases the achievement gap between low and high achieving students, which further indicates that this strategy is more efficient for low achieving students. In order to attain these results, teachers need to be prepared to deliver a project-based learning curriculum. This entails teacher training to increase project-based knowledge and skills to cater to the needs of all learners. Taking this into account, Stephanie has designed an interview protocol to research secondary teachers' understanding on their role and their students' role when undertaking a project-based learning unit. The data was coded using Saldana's coding method. Here is a snapshot of the coding process with reference to each of the 13 interview questions. Categories are formed alongside each code before linking each category to a theme. Patterns in the data revealed 2 main themes: teacher roles and student roles. Sub-themes also came to light in the analysis. It is evident that the roles of teachers and students are significant to the success of project-based learning. Trends in the data showed 50% of teachers felt unprepared and would have liked more support before implementing a project-based learning program. The latter felt prepared to deliver a project-based learning unit, but only because they had already completed professional development. One interviewee quoted, "I have completed numerous professional development hours on this pedagogy and feel extremely comfortable delivering it to students." Therefore, it is evident throughout the research that project-based learning can increase student achievement. However, it relies heavily on the teacher's capabilities to implement this pedagogy. Moving on, next we have the Quality Teaching Framework, QT. This framework is a list of attributes that the teacher can have or implement in his or her classroom. The attributes are shown on the screen, and as you can see, there are a lot of them, and this was the first limitation when researching this. Another limitation was that some elements overlapped and finding their effectiveness individually became impossible. Despite this, the literature demonstrated that teachers that implemented these elements tend to have more successful lessons. The research conducted by Akram tried to identify the elements that students mostly identified with, while also investigating any possible additions to this list. Like project-based learning, this was also conducted through interviews with 3 open-ended questions that stimulated conversation. These questions included: what makes a good teacher? How did the quality mentioned in the previous question help you achieve better outcomes? And what teacher quality would make you disengage? The results from these interviews linked good teachers with the QT model, whereas teachers that deviated from the model tended to be perceived as ineffective by students. Next up, we have Positive Behaviour for Learning, PBL. PBL is a school-wide initiative that focuses on wellbeing and behaviour. By concentrating on these areas, it is thought that a better quality learning experience can be achieved, leading to improved learning outcomes. The literature showed that PBL had a positive impact on student learning outcomes, as well as building positive peer relationships and psychological outcomes. However, much of the data findings proved not to be significant. This can be attributed to the fact that PBL was relatively new at the time of the research, with many of the sample schools having only implemented PBL for less than 5 years. This becomes problematic as this framework is heavily reliant on long-term goals. The PBL research undertaken by myself, Jasmine, focused on a qualitative approach, interviewing teachers that have implemented PBL in their schools to see if stronger results could be found due to the fact that PBL has now been in New South Wales schools for over 10 years. All interviewees had similar results, saying that the use of PBL had a positive effect on student outcomes and the classroom environment. This was especially true for students that were considered at risk. Such students had an increase in school attendance rates, levels of motivation and engagement in learning. This increase in engagement has led to an increase in academic results. Stronger professional development and a whole school approach was also considered by teachers to be the key to the successful implementation of PBL. On to inquiry-based learning, IBL, which is described as a student-centered style of instruction where students are given a powerful driving question with linked scaffolding activities that allow students to investigate and research the question. To construct their knowledge to the questions, students must be able to develop their problem-solving, collaborative and critical thinking skills and must be able to make connections to the world beyond the classroom. Studies have illustrated that students who are exposed to IBL have significantly higher academic achievement and the gap between high and low performing students is minimised. To ascertain these types of results, researchers conclude that there are 4 significant factors that are critical to maximising the effectiveness of IBL. These include scaffolding, formative assessment, a powerful driving question, and professional development. With this in mind, James designed a quantitative Likert scale survey to research teachers' understanding of IBL and how it should be implemented and if they believe these factors to be critical to IBL. The main 2 factors that became apparent were teachers' self-efficiency and their professional development. 50% of the teachers who felt confident using IBL were comfortable being facilitators in the classroom, additionally enjoyed group work, and preferred the structure of an IBL lesson. Secondly, 50% of the teachers who had professional development were more likely to give appropriate scaffolding, ongoing feedback, and made strong links from the driving question to the activities they provided in the lesson. In conclusion, IBL can increase student achievement. However, it relies heavily on the teacher's capabilities and their professional development to implement IBL effectively. Of our research, it has been found that the focus of the research and data revolved around the teacher, in that, firstly, teachers that align their teaching with the QT model were perceived to be more effective in their teaching by their students. 2. Project-based learning was found to enhance student achievement, but only if the teacher was proficient in their delivery of a project-based learning unit. 3. Similar to project-based learning, inquiry-based learning improves student learning outcomes only when a teacher is confident to implement an inquiry-based framework. And finally, number 4, positive behaviour for learning has demonstrated to decrease absenteeism and increase student academic achievements, but strong professional development was also considered to be the key to its success. These findings inspired a new research project, with the overarching research question being, does the process of professional development enhance student achievement? To test this, a longitudinal study using a mixed methods approach will be proposed and implemented across 5 schools in the Western Sydney region. The Western Sydney region was chosen due to its diversity in teachers and students. The study will consist of 2 focus groups. The first involves teachers attending professional development seminars for inquiry-based learning. The second group of teachers will not only partake in these seminars, but will also have a researcher as a mentor to guide them each week during the implementation phase. The project is run throughout a unit of work, which is a 10-week period, in which the mentor will actively take part in co-designing the inquiry-based program with the teacher. Data will be obtained from both quantitative and qualitative methods. For the quantitative data, students from both groups will be prescribed a pre and post test and the results will be compared. For the qualitative data, teachers will be interviewed to describe firstly how they felt teaching the content and secondly how did the students react with this new style of teaching. The findings from this research will shape the way in which teachers partake in professional development to maximise their pedagogy and in turn enhance student achievement. Professional development is critical to staying in tune with teaching pedagogy and best practice. Attending professional development courses will be part of our future career, and so our research is very much relevant to our future practice. In conclusion, this presentation demonstrates the importance of action research within the teaching profession, as concrete policies and requirements such as attending a certain amount of hours of professional development may not always be the most efficient method of improving practice, while an alternative of quality over quantity may prove more beneficial for the teacher and for student learning outcomes.